what a week, D. What a week.
Huge few days for Dos and D. We're up here in the beautiful, sun-shining northern New South Wales, southeast Queensland border of Kingscliff, New South Wales.
We've been up over the border.
We spent the majority of the time over the border, actually.
Over in Brisbane, Gold Coast.
Gold Coast. It's been a huge few days. And everybody would have heard our trip over the last few episodes. But, of course, we need to release a Dos and D special. So here we are, uncut.
We like, releasing these pretty sporadically, every month or a few weeks. Or it's what you guys like. It's what you want.
That's right. So, just a little update. We are, we're going to say right now, we're absolutely knackered. We are exhausted.
Yeah, the gusto has gone from being, top shelf to, probably... middle, no, probably pretty low.
Yeah. We're knackered. So should we quickly go through what
Let's just recap. I guess essentially with me moving up here for the next couple of months, we've had to book out 3 or 4 trips. You've come up this week. Mm-hmm. I'll come back to Melbourne in a month, and in those trips, we're batching 4 weeks worth of content.
Yeah, and not just podcasts either.
No, so we're obviously pushing really hard YouTube. So doing lots of different YouTube challenges, DOS vs D, vlogging, that kind of style. It's a lot, but we love it.
We love it. It's been one of my favourite weeks ever for Dos and D.
Me too.
In the industry. And look at this, by the way. We let's give them a shout. Hikari House.
Hikari House.
Thank you for having us. That's where you're living now.
Yeah, I know. So my partner Garni, it's her family, her parents' home. So they've been so lovely to have us here, and obviously being Garni to be here for the next few months as well. But to have the lads here, Ralph came up, a videographer, or what would you call him, a photographer, videographer,
Videographer, yeah.
Yeah, he came up and stayed and he enjoyed himself as well. So, yeah, it's been, you could say, we've lived like kings.
We have, and you'll see that if you check out the vlog, you'll be able to see obviously what we've been living in. But just picture spas at night time. Nice open greenery spaces, beaches right there. Just real open, modern kind of style living. It's
if you go, you can watch this podcast, head over to YouTube and watch it if you wanted to, and you'll see the backdrop. So.
Yeah, well, again, no, never does it justice, does it?
No, it doesn't.
We're going to dive into a little bit later on this episode some of the things that may have happened during this week, and then expand a little bit further, but. For me, I caught it's not actually a red eye, but I caught a very early flight. I was up at 3 a.m. The alarm went off to come up here, and then you, of course, picked Ralph and I up from the airport. But that was Tuesday morning, and straight from there, we had content to film. We've been, like you said, we've been to Gold Coast, Brisbane, up back. Amazing interviews. Should we quickly recap who we've interviewed?
Yeah, well, where do we start? I guess the first proper day of interviews. We had 2 interviews. They were both towards Brisbane. One was in Brisbane. So the first interview was with Haunted Down Under, which are a YouTube channel, and they're ghost hunters, essentially, aren't they?
Yeah, so we got a little bit spooked out on that one. And
that was pretty interesting. Something we've never really... we've never dabbled in that.
No.
And you could say, both of us, I'm definitely a skeptic when it comes to spirits and witchcraft. But
don't record the word witchcraft.
No, but I'm not really big on that. But after that chat, I must say...
You mind just
maybe a little bit. Just a little. They showed us a few clips and audios. And
next time we're up, we're going into a haunted location, which is
they're going to take us through it. So that'll be pretty scary. But and the second interview from there, we were on our way from there to Brisbane. And who did we interview up there?
With the great Josh Dunkley, who absolutely dominating for the Brisbane Lions, and had an awesome chat with him. Even better bloke, and we wouldn't have been able to say this on the pod, but we chatted for about 45 minutes. After the podcast ended, we just sat back, had just a fantastic chat with him. He's a lovely guy. That was fantastic. But again, like you said, it's like between each one, it's an hour, and then drives, and then you got this long 2-hour drive home, and the next day we headed back to Brisbane again.
Yeah, Brisbane.
No, it's all blur.
And we interviewed Lockie Stewart and Amy Shepherd. So they're a power couple. Those guys are amazing. So Lockie's he's a men's performance coach, essentially, so he helps men become better men, in every facet of human existence, really. And then you've got Amy Shepherd, who's an absolute pop star. She's part of one of the biggest pop bands Australia's seen, Shepherd.
And we met them all.
And we met the whole band, actually.
We actually went to these are things we probably didn't mention on the podcast, but we were in the Shepherd family home, so... Totally musical, grand pianos, basses, guitars here, there and everywhere. And we got to meet all 3 of them.
Yeah, they were lovely.
And all 3 of them were lovely people. And again, we're vlogging while this is happening. And then today, this morning, we went to do we won't give away what happened. We can give you the premise of what happened because I don't know when everything will be released. But we caught up with our good friend Cooper Chapman, who is an ex-guest on the Dos and D show.
What number was he?
107, I believe.
107.
And we guest on his podcast, which was a fantastic experience for us. And
Good Humans podcast. We were very lucky to be on there and chat about our journey as Dos and D. And that was like something we haven't got to do a lot. You know, we haven't been asked on lots of podcasts. We've been on a couple and got to share parts of our journey. But yeah, it was really, really interesting, and it'll be amazing for us to share it with you guys. And you can hear, you know, where we all began.
Oh, that's right. So then we hit the waves with him.
Yeah, we got in the water.
And he's a pro surfer. So again, this is what we kind of said. We said this to our cameraman just cheekily. We said, mate, you know, so why you hang out with Dos and D?
He's from the UK.
He's from the UK. So all these names might not mean much to him, but we're like, mate, look, you're hanging with rock, like literally pop bands, rock bands. You're hanging with high level business people, you're hanging with athletes, you're hanging with, you've got a free surfing lesson from a surfer who is in the top 100 in the world.
Yeah, it's not bad. Not bad
at all. It's not a bad little life. So,
No.
but what I wanted to quickly touch on in this little introduction is we had a little bit of a moment to smell the roses, which was nice, wasn't it?
We're talking about in the car on the way
just
home.
in the car on the way home. And,
I touched on this in the interview with Cooper, and that was, you know, Dos and D we've been working really hard for like the last 3 years. And, you know, that's all part of it. When you want something and you create something that's, I guess, a little bit out of the ordinary and you want to do something different and go against the grain like we always talk about. But, yeah, we had a moment. We were driving home from our second interview in Brisbane, or our second day in Brisbane. We were driving home from our chat with Lockie and Amy. And, it was a long drive home. It was traffic, and Garni, my partner, was so nice in giving us her van. There's a manual car sitting in the garage for anyone's access, but unfortunately, none of us could drive a manual.
No.
So we drove Garni's automatic van. We drove it up and did the interviews. But coming home, D said, "Put on My Way" by Frank Sinatra. And
my favourite song of all time.
And I love it as well. I'm a big Frank Sinatra fan. And we're driving it as the chorus, as just each verse hits.
It just builds, doesn't it? It builds very nicely.
And I couldn't help but just think, wow, like, look, if you said to me 3 years ago, we're starting in my little flat in Safety Beach, it was a study. And, you know, starting this podcast, and we had the shitty little mics, and, you know, we had a little whiteboard which we would plan our meetings on, and we'd go up the street and get a coffee, and we ran out of stuff to talk about at one.
Yeah, we did.
That points. But if you told us 3 years ago that we're here, we're on the Gold Coast, or, you know, we're on this Queensland New South Wales border. We're interviewing the biggest names in music, in sport, business, and getting to do this cool shit with these cool people, and this song's playing My Way, and I'm just thinking, like, this is what it's all about.
Yeah, it was nice. It was nice to just have a moment to kind of sit back and reflect on where we've come from and where we're going, and it's very exciting now that we've got the YouTube up and running too. It's very nice, but I agree. It was nice to just go and, you know, occasionally just give yourselves a little pat on the back.
Yes.
We're going to dive into a few things that have happened on this trip a little bit later on, but before we do, is anything, you know, around the house, anything kind of happened to you? Because I met a fascinating guy on a run the other day.
Oh, yeah, you did too. That was good. Yeah, that was really interesting. Barry.
Yeah, Bazza from EastEnders, we're calling him. But I went for a little run. You know, you come up here and you think, I'm going to, you know, make sure I maintain it's a
great little running track.
It's a great running track just outside the house here, and you know, run along the beach. It's beautiful. And I just finished my run, and you know what I'm like after a run, drenched in sweat. I don't leave anything in the tank when D goes running.
Have a real red hot crack.
Yeah, and I was wearing some St Kilda Footy Club shorts. I think you stole from the St Kilda Footy Club on your way out
when I worked there.
Yeah, and
I did steal
and I literally finished. And I was just doing a little bit of a walk, a warm down walk, and I get a tap on the back and say, "Oh, you're a Saints man." I said, "Oh, what gave it away?" And he said, "Oh, the shorts." And he actually pointed to his own shorts. He's wearing the exact same shorts as me. And this bloke's probably around 50 years old, and we end up having a lovely chat. Now, the bloke would not let... I'm walking. He's walking next to me. You know when you can feel body language and they try and stop you? So, you know, he starts moving the shoulders around. I'm like, I think the bloke wants to chat here. And, of course, he told me what a great footballer he's been. And but you know what the weird thing is? We're up here in Kingscliff, and suddenly we have all these mutual connections back in Melbourne. He knows this person that I played footy with. You know, I'm the cousin's brother of this guy you played with 10 years ago. He knows both my ex-football coaches, personally.
I thought you were going to say ex-girlfriends. I thought.
No, I don't
Barry.
I don't think Barry's...
Is it not in that demographic?
Not in that demographic. But you found it hilarious because I was just literally out here and I was chatting to the bloke for about 20 minutes and I came in and told Doss and he was in fits of laughter.
I just found it really funny because the bloke, from what you've told me, is...
Name dropping.
Just the ultimate name dropper, dropping every single player that knows him and loves him. And Ross Lyon's mates with him.
Well, that's the thing. He was telling me, Ross Lyon flew me down and sat me down and went through the game plan with him. And I'm thinking, Baz, did this really happen? Because I know in an NRL-dominated state in which we are, you can probably get away with that with the locals. But maybe not a Melburnian.
No.
But, what about you, mate? What have you enjoyed about being up here with the lads?
I've been up here for 2 weeks before you guys... flew up, but I don't know, the week with the lads, I think just being in a different environment, I've just loved it, like being able to hang out with you like in a different environment. We've been to London, we've been,
tick that off.
We've been to Sydney, we've been to Adelaide, and now we're just starting to scratch the surface of
where we're going,
Queensland.
Yeah.
So I've just enjoyed being in a different environment, but probably just. I've missed living with D, so it's nice. It's nice to be under the same roof again.
Well, it's nice. There's been a few stitch-ups because all our YouTube games that we play, there's always punishment for the loser. So, again, we won't say anything, but go and subscribe to YouTube to check that out. But
DOS VD challenges, some pretty bad punishments as well.
There's been one really nasty one, I thought, in the beach out there. But we won't give any more away. Anything else you want to cover off on this little intro, or should we get into the rest of the show?
I reckon we jump over.
All right, let's do it. Now, when you think of Queensland, what do you think of? You just rattle some things off, the top
I think of Movie World.
Movie World. Sun.
Think of Speedos.
Beach.
Havaiana thongs. You weren't expecting that?
No, wildlife, I think of too. Now, and that brings me to the next point. Now, of course, travelling with the Englishman of the group, we mentioned a few weeks ago, he's petrified of seeing a spider. Well... Boy, did he finally get the real Aussie taste of what a big spider looks like, because we did run into a big spider, Everett, just the other day. And I knew something was up, because this is the thing. I hear Doss yelling. He's gone outside. And I hear him go, Ralph, come here. And I'm like, oh, that's a bit weird. He goes, actually, bring D too. And I thought, something's up. And he's just hovering around from a distance. I thought, oh, no. He's found something that we don't really like.
Well, D's petrified.
I'm petrified. And, of course, we go into this sink and we see this monstrosity of a spider Everett just sitting there in the sink.
Doing nothing wrong.
Doing nothing wrong, just living its life. But I wanted to kill that motherfucker. But Doss is a little bit more humane, I suppose, when it comes to that kind of stuff. But we did see a big boy, didn't we?
It was a whopper.
It was a whopper. And Doss wasn't scared. Doss was trying to pick it up with his bare hands, just fling it away. I don't like spiders.
Well, it was just a, what do you call them? Huntsman.
Yeah, Doss is knackered.
Yeah. Well, I'm forgetting spider's name.
Yeah.
It wasn't anything poisonous or it wasn't anything dangerous.
Well, every night before I went to bed, because there was this big spider here a couple of weeks ago, you sent us a photo. Every night before I go to bed here, I'm just checking all the walls, and I just don't like spiders.
Fair enough, fair cool.
Now, we did an episode... probably 2 years ago now, called Fears, which was a great episode.
Well received.
Well received. We talked about all our fears. It was a little bit on the self-development kind of side of things.
It was a bit, wasn't it?
But we also went into some of the more humorous fears, or just fears that you and I may have.
Well, they're probably fears that not a lot of other people, might not have those fears. They're a bit unique.
They're unique different fears. So I want to throw to you. Just as a bit of a recap to those listeners. What are some things that really scare Wade Custon? Because this spider scared the shite out of me.
One of the biggest things I'm scared of the most is clowns.
Yep.
I'm not a fan of them.
No.
Can't stand clowns. Don't want a clown near me. Watching anything on TV with clowns. I still remember clear as day going to a circus one year when I would have been 3 or 4. And the clown did this trick, and it was in the middle of the circus, and somehow his head disappeared and he had a teapot on his body instead of his head. So his head must have been somewhere in the jumper.
Oh, no.
And I remember just being completely freaked out. So from that moment, I hated clowns.
So that's
my first experience with clown phobia.
Okay.
And then it stemmed a little bit further, which was a Barney video.
This is one of my favourite early Doss and D clips.
In this Barney video, I think it was Barney at Radio City Hall in New York City. I know exactly what it was.
And who was the actor playing the part?
The actor, of the part that I was frightened of?
Yeah.
His name was Ashley Wood.
Because I love how you'd never forgotten his name.
That's how terrified I was. I've written searched him, the actor who played this character. So the character in this Barney live show was the Winkster.
The Winkster.
His name was the Winkster.
And who does he look like?
He was a clown. Who did he look like?
He looks like the paedophile from Chitty
Chitty
Bang Bang.
That's right. He looks exactly like the paedophile from Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. And I was so scared of this guy, but I'm sure people listening and watching can relate to this. Is when you're so scared of something and you continue to go back for more. So this video tab, I continued to go to the local Video Easy.
I know.
From being a young
Video
child.
Easy, not Blockbuster.
No, actually, I say Video Easy. I think it might have even been a no chain. Like it was just the local milk bar strip.
Right.
And he, some bloke, maybe buying them and selling them and renting them. But I'll never forget, I kept going back and I kept going back. And then when the Wingster came up, I would, hide. And like wrestling, The Undertaker, you continue to watch.
Glenn and Mark in our WWE fight. Yeah, but that's the thing. That's what you do with fears. Like, you just want a little bit more. For me, it was the witch from Snow White. We famously touched on that. For some reason, to this day, that scared the shit out of me. But I realised something the other day that I was really freaked out of as a child, which I think I've almost conquered. But young Ralph brought this back to my attention in the van the other day. I don't know if you remember this, but I was sitting in the middle. It's a really compact kind of van when the three of us are squished. I'm sitting in the middle, and he just flicks his phone in my direction, and I saw Michael Jackson's face.
Oh, you shit yourself.
I absolutely shat myself. And I know we talked about this on a podcast a long time ago, but when I really think about young Wacko Jacko in his white years, it does still to this day. Just I can freak myself. You've seen this firsthand. I can freak myself out firsthand.
Michael Jackson in that prime. Like there was a couple of years there, there
trying
was
to look like a woman.
A few instances where he was in the news in the papers, and one of them was that period of time where he held his son over the balcony. Do you remember that? Like that period,
was peak.
That was peak Michael Jackson fear. Like I was scared of the bloke as well. And me and Garni just recently watched it.
Why'd you do this to
Leaving
yourself?
Neverland, and that's the second time I've watched that. I
don't know how you've watched that twice.
Yeah. I don't know why.
Hard watch.
And it's sad because I really enjoy his music.
Well, you can still enjoy his music.
I do.
Don't have to support the bloke, but just enjoy. You can
he's no longer with us.
No.
So,
no. Still enjoy a little bit of Smooth
I think he's
Criminal.
in hell. So
yeah, well, don't touch children is the moral story. Well, the one thing that really scared me, and you'll know this, this also happened the other day, is we're sitting in the van and Dos goes for a humongous little sneeze and a cough.
Oh.
He's been a little bit Damien Fleming, haven't you? Here he goes. He's coughing right now. Well, listen to that.
I have been. That's not planned. I've been under the weather a bit for probably about 4 days. Yeah, had a bit of a head cold, and then it's moved from the head to the chest and the throat. And even though I woke up this morning, was it this morning?
Yeah,
woke up for
we're about to go to podcast.
About to jump on a podcast, and D goes, "Mate, you're right." My voice, I was so croaky and
so croaky.
But when you're so mucusy, you can't actually get it up out of the chest. So there are the odd time when you might, sneeze or cough, and something might just come flying out.
It's when he coughs it and it's sitting on his hand and he shows me. That just really grossed me.
Well, this was what happened in the car. Explain the story because it was a sneeze. It wasn't like I coughed and I knew there was going to be a bunch of phlegm come out. I sneezed. And I did 3 big ones, and I just went achoo, achoo, and then the last one achoo, and it went. Like, it went all over my hands and all over me. And then D was in the middle. And you were like, I'm going to throw up. And didn't I do it in the car before we left as well or something?
Yeah. It's happened a couple of times. I just find that is genuinely one of my biggest fears. But anything else that kind of freaks you out? Gives you maybe not, serious fears, but just gives you the heebie-jeebies?
The heebie-jeebies? Probably, I don't like being in the dark by myself. Like if it's pitch black, I'm not the biggest fan. And then we've touched on this, but for some reason I just, what I'm going to say. The idea of black holes just freaks me out.
I love this.
So I know it's a long, long way away, and I'm not going to be live for it.
There are still black holes though.
I know, but I just will never forget. Yeah, being in primary school, and that there was this one kid. His name was Bryn, and Bryn was a real smart kid. And he was almost too smart, like really clever, and. Always kept to himself, and he was really into science. And I remember one day I went to his house for a play date, and I was sitting in his room, and we're going through. He loved space, and which didn't align with me. Where's the footy, Bryn? And basically, we're going through this book, and he's showing me black holes. And he basically said to me, he just said,
"You're cooked."
Yeah, he goes, "Oh, we all die. You know, when there's going to be a giant black hole, the sun is going to run out of gas, and we're all going to get sucked up into it." And I remember going home to my dad, and Dickie was not happy.
Really?
Yeah. And then I still remember being in bed one night, and Dad came in, and he basically just said, "Mate, just everything's going to be fine. Just pray." Just pray and it'll all be fine.
Good advice.
Advice.
Well, it's funny.
So I did bow my head.
Yeah. It's funny you say that because as a kid, I think nothing scared me more than the concept of the end of the world. And growing up in a religious family, and I used to hate whenever the topic of the end of the world would come up.
Mate, you know what? One, when you bring it up religion, but eternity freaks me out. Forever.
Isn't
that frightening?
Yeah, I know. Oh gosh!
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. It's it's
a scary thought.
Well, it's the thoughts you can't comprehend as human beings. That is scary. But I always hated the thought that natural disasters. We went through. I think it was maybe grade 3. We had to go through and study natural disasters. You know, your floods, your earthquakes, your cyclones, your tsunamis, all that kind of stuff, and I was freaked out. And I thought every time a natural disaster hit, you know, the end was near, and I was so scared that I just couldn't listen to the news. I couldn't look at newspapers, you know. And then because we learned the two things: there's natural disasters, and then there's man-made disasters like bombing and terrorism and all that good stuff. And
it's not a laughing matter.
No, it's not. It's very sad.
Yeah.
But that stuff terrified me, and now I'm kind of more fascinated with all that stuff.
Yeah.
But,
What else are you really scared of?
I think that's these days. What am I scared of?
Yeah.
I'm not. I mean, without going down the serious path of we don't need to go down the
heaven and hell.
Or regret or growing old or that stuff. No, honestly, I don't. I think it's literally I'm scared of spiders.
Yeah.
You?
It's the clan is.
Yeah.
Exactly right. Now, don't come near me with the clan. I still remember, I reckon on my 19th, I was 18 or 19, maybe nearly 20. No, it would have been 20 because I was adamant for my 21st that my family were going to get someone to dress up as the Wingster. I'm not even joking.
That'd be so funny.
And I was freaking out. But no one told me. Like I just created it in my mind.
Yeah, no. And do you get aggressive? Because that's what I do.
Yeah.
I get aggressive. Like you, as you saw.
Yeah.
If I got an inkling that you're going to do something stupid with that freaking spider, I'm going to get aggressive.
I know, and you do.
Yeah, and you do, and you would.
I
as well.
do. Oh,
yeah.
I actually asked Dad. I said, "Look,
if anyone's planning, if Paul Hudson's planning this, tell him right now." This is not happening.
If Hunter's planning on coming out to do his speech in the Wingstick kit, tell him to fuck off because I don't want to borrow it.
Now, as you're up here, as we touched on for 3 months, young Ralph, who is our normal cameraman, videographer, he's gone off into the night currently in the Gold Coast and probably going to do a hell of a lot of damage. So I hope I see him tomorrow. Please don't do anything stupid, young Ralph. But he's taken over your room. Now, he's a 20-year-old from London with far too much confidence and bouncy puppy dog style energy. And, I feel like...
I struggled with it yesterday.
You struggled with it. I think you snapped and told him off at one point.
Yeah, that was fair.
Fair enough. I think
some of the language was horrid.
One of us was about to. But the thing that... I kind of made a deal with him because I'm trying to entertain him. I don't want him to get bored. I'm still trying to work and do all this stuff as well. But each morning he'll come in and say, "Oh, what are we doing today? Or what are you doing tonight?" And anyway, I made this deal with him. You know what, mate? I'll come out with you once a week, right?
That's a lot.
Wasn't that a dumb decision on my behalf? Because I thought I'd still have it in me. Once a week, I'll be able to go out on a Friday night and stay till the.
Are you drinking?
No, well, I was, but I've cut that right out because I'm just not going down that path. I did, to try and because he, was adamant he wanted to drink, and as 20-year-olds want to. And anyway, the point I'm getting at is there's 2 things that have happened lately that I've had out of body experiences. Going, what the fuck am I doing? Now, for those that live in Melbourne, you'll know of the notorious nightclub called Billboards. Have you been there?
No.
Never
been.
I told my younger sister, and she's like, "Why the hell would you go to Billboards?" Well, it was a Thursday night. I've made this deal with him that I'll go out with him once a week.
So, wait. Let's go back a little sec. How quickly did he come to you on the Thursday morning saying, "Hey, I want to go out tonight"?
So he's come out. He said, "Which day are we going out?" Now I couldn't do Friday, and I couldn't do Saturday. And I said, all right, I'll come out tonight, Thursday night, I'll do it. And I said, but I don't know where's open.
So you've made a deal to go out every week?
Yes.
Once a week?
Yes.
You're an idiot.
No. I know. I thought, well, the first couple of times I went out, I was enjoying it.
I know, I remember. I went out the first one
but now,
with you three, and I actually left. I went home before both of you.
Yeah, but
I can't handle this. Too old.
But now I'm starting to regret it. But the thing is, I was doing a bit of searching about what's out, and there wasn't many options. I know we'll get a lot of comments saying you should go here, go there. I took it to billboards. Yes, everybody, I know it was a mistake. Yes, I know I was too old to be there. And I go in this place, and I'm in this nightclub, and everybody has like young faces. I'm like, this is weird.
They're 17, 18.
18, 19. Now, people won't mind me saying this, but Ralph's going as a 20-year-old. He's going, you're allowed to look when you go out. And he's saying, isn't she, pretty or whatever. Now,
well, the word that he likes to use is fit.
And I'm saying, when they're to me, an 18-year-old isn't, right? Because it's just too young.
Yeah, like there's no pubic hair yet.
No, so that's kind of anyway. And I'm chatting half the night. I'm spending chatting to drunk 18, 19, 20-year-old guys and girls, and I'm like, there's nothing to talk about.
And not by choice.
Not by choice. Actually, a few of them come up and talk about Dawson D, which is always nice. Sometimes you get a nice photo, or love the podcast, or love the content. Thanks, mate. Yeah, but that was one of them. Now the other time we go out, we're catching the train late at home. We got chatting to this group of people on the train at 2 a.m. Got invited back to a house party in Brighton. I thought, why not? Why not wind the clock back and go back to an after party in Brighton? But I'm sitting at this after party with 18-year-olds, right? They were all 18. I said, how old are you? 18.
The mum and dad's house.
18. And mum and dad's rich house. They're on holiday. He's got the house to himself. And I'm sitting there and I'm going, they all think because Ralph goes, how old do you think he is? And everyone's going, I think he's 22. So I'm just like, I may as well just go with it at this point. I don't
22, take that.
I'll take it. But I'm sitting there, I'm like, I'm 10 years older than everybody here. And I'm like, and it was just not enjoyable. I'm like, there's nothing to talk about. The music's shit. And I felt like a real old grumpy bastard. And that, to me, was when I felt old. Now, have you had any moments recently where you feel old? Especially when you're around young people.
I think one big one for me, it's like, well, Ralph is a great example for you, but it's, if I'm at, if it's at work and there's a younger person and you talk about music, well, we love our music.
Yeah.
Now I love I love old music. So I'm probably born in the wrong era.
Yeah.
We often say that.
Yeah.
But it's often when people or younger people would listen. If I was to want to put on a song, like for example in the car with Ralph. Ralph's playing all this new shit. And I'm not, I don't know a lot of it. I'm not the biggest fan. It's when I put
10-minute tracks of
It's probably when I feel old. It's when I choose a song that's, probably in the 90s or 2000s or even earlier. I love a bit of 60s, 70s.
Yeah, we all do.
And Ralph, what is this?
Yeah.
That's when I probably feel old. But in saying that, it's probably just moments, when you go out, like you said, if I was to go out now, I reckon I know I feel old is because I want to go home before 12 o'clock or before 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like
knackered.
I'm stuffed.
Yeah.
Like that's the same. Or another big part is I don't get shit-faced anymore. Yeah. So when I'm going out and you go out with a bunch of people and everyone wants to get drunk and do shots and there is a time for that. Don't get me wrong.
Of course.
I love it from time to time.
We're not the party poopers. Yeah.
But it's, if I'm not, I want to be out of there by 12 o'clock.
Totally agree. But we thought, let's take it a step further. Let's really bring all the listeners back and make everybody feel old because, it's weird to think that 10 years ago was 2013. So we've had a little look on the internet of things that happened in 2013 that happened 10 years ago.
Yeah, it's kind of scary.
A couple songs, couple movies. Because when I think just in my head, when I think 10 years ago, I naturally think I probably was starting high school then. That wasn't the case, D. You weren't just starting high school.
No, we were finishing. I was finishing high school.
You were dropping out of high school. Yeah.
You were dropping out of high school.
Now, in 2013, here's a couple of the movies that were released. Wolf of Wall Street.
I can't believe
10 years old.
That's like... I still remember seeing that at an outdoor cinema.
Who were we talking to on the podcast? Was it Louis or was it Frankie or someone that said that movie came out at it was Matt Zakowski, I think, said that came out at the perfect age. It did. When we were 18 we thought we could all take on Wall Street and live
we can live that life if we really wanted.
Yeah. What's your favourite scene from that movie? So we mentioned dwarf throwing last time.
Yeah, we did. No offence. No offence. But But my favourite scene of the movie, it's a good question. I probably have to say, it's such a hard... Actually, no. My favourite scene of the movie is when he takes what are they called? It's a special drug.
Oh, yeah.
What were they called?
I forgot what they're called, but yeah. And they make you... Yeah, fuck you right up.
Yeah, but he took too many of them because they're expired.
Yeah.
And it hasn't hit him, and then he basically goes down the stairs, he gets in the Lamborghini and drives home.
That scene, by the way, shows how clever the director was in that movie, because when they keep cutting shots from his view and the actual view, you see that when it comes from his view, it looks like heaps of stairs.
Yeah.
But when you see the actual view from like the car, there's less stairs, and they said that was to show what his perspective was versus what reality was.
Interesting. Didn't know that.
But my favourite line from the movie is, "Do you jerk off?"
Yeah. Matthew McConaughey.
We're going to bump those rookie numbers up.
Yeah, those are rookie numbers, man.
Now, another movie, Frozen.
Yeah, I'd never seen it.
Me neither, but 10 years ago.
Yeah, let it go.
Which reminds me, 10 years ago, I had my first girlfriend.
10 years? Your first girlfriend?
It reminds me of Frozen, which, yeah. Now, Blurred Lines came out in 2013.
Robin Thicke.
Dickie loved that tune.
He did love that tune.
Until...
Well, it was probably until he worked out what the song was really about.
Yeah, I saw the film clip. It was all nude, weren't they?
Yeah, that was. Yeah, Robin Thicke. That was a great song.
And what happened a few months later was the live edition.
With Miley Cyrus.
Yeah, that was 10 years ago.
Yeah, that was controversial.
That was, yeah. So the old twerk was probably invented
10 years ago.
10 years ago.
I can twerk that. I can twerk. Did you know that?
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Laying down.
You've got a big ass.
I know. Big ass.
And you like big asses.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wrecking Ball, speaking of Miley Cyrus.
Miley?
Yeah.
Not the biggest fan of Miley Cyrus.
Not a fan at all. Overrated. But 10 years old?
10? Okay.
Now, this one really makes me feel old. The PS4 was released.
Oh, yeah. See, that makes me feel actually pretty sad.
I reckon some people will be listening and go, fuck, 10 years since the PS4 got released.
10 years.
Do you remember...
Sorry, you go.
No, I was going to say, do you remember when you got your
Yeah,
PS4?
I was going to ask you the same question.
Yeah.
Never forget the day, because actually my mum and dad were away and my nan was looking after me, and basically I had my PS2 ready to trade in, thinking I was like, oh no, my PS3, sorry, not PS4, PS3.
Yeah.
And
thinking it's going to be an even trade.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a straight swap. Nice, easy trade. And then I had a few games, but I had cash from birthday, so whatever I could get in exchange. And I got an NBA game with it. So with the new PlayStation, and I remember going home and plugging it straight in and playing some Miami Heat.
Yeah.
What about you?
I can't remember when I got the PS4, but I remember getting the PS3 because it's irrelevant, but I just remember wanting so desperately the AFL Live game, and I thought it would come out on computer, and it never did. So my old man did the right thing one day and said, come on. And,
really?
Yeah, he bought me the PS3. And
how much those went for?
They're not cheap, but...
so your dad just went, here you go, here's a PlayStation 3.
Yeah, just generous.
Good on you, Kaz. Being up here on the Gold Coast, or in the vicinity of the Gold Coast, brings back memories.
It does.
And especially for us, when we're driving up to Brisbane a couple of times, a couple of days in a row, you just instantly think of your childhood, don't you?
You do. You had Gold Coast holidays?
Yeah, we had 2.
Yep.
And then we also went to Cairns as well. Yeah, we had
I didn't know you went to Cairns. Yeah, no.
Yeah, went and swam in the Great Barrier Reef.
Oh, lovely.
Probably one of my favourite family holidays of all time.
What year was that?
That was 2008.
Okay.
2008. I'll never forget that because that was like my real prime bulldog obsession phase. But yeah,
lucky grew out of that.
Yeah, lucky. Still haven't. But yeah, the Gold Coast, the theme parks.
Definitely.
You go on those family trips. It's just a real Melbourne thing, isn't it?
Oh yeah, everyone goes to the theme parks. Which one's your favourite?
Wet n Wild.
Yeah.
Put the rashy on and away you go.
Always been Sunsmart, Dad.
Yeah, always be Sunsmart. What about you?
Well, we were supposed to go do some filming at Dreamworld for this trip. We'll probably push it to next time, but never liked Dreamworld, but Movie World I think I like for the theatrics. The
characters.
It's a bit closer to Disney World kind of style. I haven't been there for a long time. But similar to you, Gold Coast was always a holiday destination for the Schullers. We drove up twice and flew up once, and we had stayed at the same resort every time, which is Sanctuary Cove.
Nice.
Sanctuary Cove, I think.
Is that the same place?
The Hubs?
Yep.
And
wait, no, I was meaning, is this the same place?
Where the infamous story happened.
Is that the same place?
Yes.
Wow.
This luxury place. But when I think of Gold Coast, obviously, all I think of really is family. I've been up here once to watch the Mighty Saints. which I don't know why I did.
By yourself or?
Nah, ex-girlfriend.
Okay, yeah.
But but I always think of family holidays. But of course, when I think of family holidays, back in that era,
think of your father.
15 years old. I do think of my old man because we've shared a few of these stories before.
And for everyone listening, I love a Gary Schuller story. Gary is one of the nicest, kindest people you'll ever meet. But
15 years ago, had a temper.
And I didn't know him that well then. Would have I met Gary 15 years ago? No. But the stories about Gaza are just gold.
Yeah. Well, just again, businessman. Hard work, very similar to your old man. And you know firsthand what it's like running a business, very stressful. And look, you should. If you've run a business and it's successful and you have good years, you should go and celebrate. Definitely take the family. But unfortunately back then, he used to run on the adrenaline of stress. And unfortunately was quite impatient at times. And, you go to Movie World and you have Austin Powers, rubbing his head, calling him Dr. Evil because he is bald. At the start of the day, it's all fun and games. But as the day progresses, it, slowly becomes less funny as the heat comes in and the kids are running around and the dripping of sweat. No one wants to go on the rides with him because everyone's too scared. And
he's having to pay for everything.
Well, he didn't mind. He doesn't mind that. But each night we go out for dinner, and 9 times out of 10,
five-star restaurants kind of thing.
Very expensive restaurants, but 9 times out of 10 the food got sent back because he just, we've talked about his Maccas.
Sends his Maccas back.
He sends his Maccas back. Go back and listen to all the D Uncut. You'll hear plenty of his stories of sending, everything back. But, his simple dietary requirements, not for health reasons or for allergies.
Just for taste.
Just for taste. Just he can't stand the smell of garlic. Doesn't like butter. Doesn't like cheese. Doesn't like melted things on his food. So, he'd say 20 times to the waitress or waiter, no butter, no garlic, none of that, please.
No cheese.
No cheese. And of course, 9 times out of 10, they must not write it down, or it comes out, he opens his burger or he smells his steak or he sees what's cooked in and he's like, it's cooked in butter. And, as a start of the holiday, you might, politely put it back. But by the end, you see he's fuming. He's just like, and he gets so upset because everybody's eating around him and he's waiting, hungry man waiting for his food. And then, the food would come back and he just used to go, and then he'd look at us and he goes, do you think they spat in it? And he goes, I hope they didn't spit in it. And we're Dad, don't be so, aggro when you send it back. But do you want me to tell you the famous Queensland story?
I want it. Now, everyone, this has been told on the potty before.
Yeah, sorry if we're repeating ourselves.
And there are going to be some of you that have heard it. And that's okay. But what's even better is when you get to hear it again.
Or for the new listeners.
Because this is one of the funniest stories I reckon I've ever heard. And I mean ever.
Oh, don't build it up because I haven't thought about this off the top. So I don't want to, I might get this wrong. But it is a great story. So 5-star resort. Saintry Cove.
Family holiday.
If anybody knows it now, I looked this up the other day. You're looking at about $350 per room per night. At one stage, he was buying 2 rooms. one for you.
Business must be going very good in the Schuller household.
Must have been flying in those days. But he always requested, because he did a bit of work. He spoke a lot at these events, and in return, they'd give him what's called a platinum membership or whatever, and it, whatever.
Gets him a few freebies or...
Yeah, and he chose this, he loved this room that had this perfect walking distance to the pool, the swimming pool, because he'd spend most of your days, it has a pool and a lagoon and a spa, and you'd spend most of your days down there in the sun.
Lovely.
And he liked this one that was just up, you go out, you open your back window, similar to this, very similar to this. You walk down the grass, and at the bottom you've got the pool and the lagoon. Now, my sister Ali, who hates me telling this story, and she wasn't happy last time I shared it, so I'm sorry again, Ali, for sharing
Sorry,
this.
Ali.
But at this time, she's probably about 8 years old.
So she's very young.
She's very, very young. And we were spending a day at the pool, and she must have, she needed to go to the toilet for twos.
Number two.
Number twos. So Mum says, yep, no worries. Here's the key, swipe the room, go inside. So she must have waddled her way up the hill to the grass and realised that she's not quite going to make it inside the hotel room and to the toilet. So she pulled her pants down and took a shit on our balcony, directly outside.
Wait. Directly outside you mean outside the front door?
Back door. But it's the balcony is where you walk down. So you open the windows, then you walk down to the swimming pool.
So there's like a sliding door.
It's a sliding
at the
door.
back.
Correct. It's a sliding door at the back, and she's taking a shit.
But like she's that close. Like she's at the door.
I know, but it's what you do when you're 7 or 8 years old.
So she pulled her bathers down and
She must have. I don't know. I wasn't there.
Took a poo.
I wasn't there. I didn't know. I only heard about this years later.
Took a poo.
She's taken a poo, right? On the grass or on the balcony, right, right outside the back door. Now, cut forward, she's mortified, clearly, and she decides, I'm going to keep this to myself. Now, fair play, I would do the same. Would you? I probably wouldn't, give that information away that easily either.
I tell you what, smart from an 8-year-old.
Smart from an 8-year-old. So she goes back to the pool, carries on with the day as
a great
normal.
day.
Now, the sun's probably beaming down on this human shit and making quite an awful smell. And it must have been...
So how many hours later?
I don't know, but it must have been Gaz's turn. He was feeling the need to go and use the bathroom himself. So he walks up the beautiful green grass and heads towards the room to be greeted by a human shit. Now, there's no dogs on the premise. There's no dogs on the premise. Now, if there's one thing Gary Schuller does not find funny, he doesn't like fart jokes. Anything of the human feces, he just finds just repulsive. Like there's no humour in it whatsoever.
So if I flashed in my ass, it wouldn't be funny.
No, it's not funny. Don't do it.
It's like mooning.
Most men will hear a fart and laugh their heads off. Not my dad.
Really?
Now he's fuming because he's seen a shit and he can't believe it. Like he's gone red in the face because he thinks his first thing is there's some young hooligans running around the premises. They're
just dropping shits all over the place.
Funny, but the way he thinks is it's an attack on him. They've seen this bloke and they're like, oh, it's like he's the guy I'm going to go after.
Yeah, we heard this guy speak the other day, and I'm going to target him. What room is he? 407.
Yeah.
Put your pants down, Paul, because you're dropping his shit right now.
So Gary Schuller rings up this place and goes to absolute town. He goes, "This is not good enough. This is horrible." Like blah blah blah. And he's going absolutely ballistic. He is fuming at this point. He says, "Now you must get us a new room right now. In 10 minutes it's not good enough. You must do it right now." And they're like, "Oh, well, we can't. No, get me a new room." So we get a room. And at this stage, Gary Schuller, in his mind, the holiday's ruined.
How many days in is it?
I don't know, but the holiday's ruined in his case. Now, my sister, meanwhile, was watching this all happen from the side, and she's probably thinking to herself, should I own up or should I not? But Dad's going absolutely ballistic. Like, he's, to this day, like, he'd open the windows in the morning and check, no, there's no shit here. Like, he was checking.
He was so worried.
He was so worried that it would happen again. And then the funniest thing that happened was then my sister must have pulled my mum aside a day later and said, "Oh, Mum, I've got a confession to make." It was me.
It was me.
Vince McMahon said it was me, Austin. It was me all along.
It was my turd.
It was my turd. And
my turd all along.
And after and I'm not kidding, like Dad would have demanded upgrades here and this, that, and free meals and this, that, and free drinks. Like, you must fix this or I'm going to, And Mum probably just patted her on the back and just said, "Look, let's just keep this, but don't tell your father. Let's keep this between the two of us." So,
so the freebies came in. Your dad demanded. They cleaned the shit.
Oh well, that's the thing. The first thing is he had cleaners there in hazmat suits, disinfecting. That's the first thing. He's like, this must be disinfected. I've never met a bloke that loves the word disinfectant more. When I had my puppy Danger,
really?
Well, he's not a puppy anymore, but when he was a puppy and we were house training him, every time he did what did he call it? I can't remember. He had a word for it, but every time
he had a word for poo,
wee or poo, or an accident, a piddle, or whatever it was. But it was always go get the disinfectant. So anyway, that's
one of the all-time classics. I don't have anything close to it. Nothing. So hope you enjoy that. Is that a couple of scratches on the old palms there, D? What happened?
On the old Robert Palmer's. You don't get you.
Yeah, the old Robert Palmer.
Yes, Dos. We were talking. We were trying to catch up on things that have happened since you've been up here and I've been down in Melbourne. Well, we had Louis Phillips on the show a few weeks ago. And firstly, do you want to give him a bit of a shout out?
Louis Phillips, episode? The Sunday Run podcast. Louis Phillips. He's the running machine. So. Yes. that episode did really well. He's been on before. Him and Gab from 9 to 5 Fitness. They both came on a couple of months ago, but Louis came on solo and gave us his time. It was awesome.
It's all about running. So that, of course, inspires us to go for runs, as we do. I was already doing a couple of runs a week. And you know what it's like. Sometimes you want to go for a Sunday run. You just want to stroll around and not worry about times. And other times you're feeling it, I'm going to go fast tonight.
Yeah, I'm going hard.
Well, I decided to go for a run in dusk the other night, which is always, a bit dangerous.
Good word, dusk.
Yeah, well, you and I went for a run probably a few days before we left. I nearly tripped.
Yeah, that was very close.
Very close.
It was dark.
But I nearly tripped on this corner. Now, that was the second time I've nearly tripped on this corner.
That's pretty funny, actually.
Well, this night, it was one of those ones where you go, ready, set, tap the stopwatch, and off you go. And you're bolting. I'm going to run 2Ks as fast as I can, kind of thing. So I'm coming up to this corner, and in the back of my mind, I'm like, just remember that freaking corner. Don't take it too sharp. So I'm coming around this corner at full speed, sprinting. And unfortunately, you have to take it quite sharp because there's a main road, adjacent to it.
Yeah, adjacent.
Oh, it's a parallel to it. And you're running anyway. There's this tiny little bit of wood that you just can't see in the dark, and it sticks out. And unfortunately, my foot clipped it, and I went flying. And I mean flying. I flew over the footpath and slid onto the road.
You went from the footpath over the grass to the road.
That's
wow,
how fast
I didn't know that.
That's how fast I was running. So I've absolutely cut up my hands. Like they've healed now, but my hands.
Were they bleeding?
Oh mate, I was bleeding on my knees.
So you didn't finish the run, obviously. You had to go back.
Well, I held my phone because I was holding it with Strava, right? And here's the problem: when you're running, none of us know how we're going to brace for a fall because we don't practice for it. Well, I had my phone, and in that means you're
brace
just trying
with the hands.
Yeah, and unfortunately, my phone smashed. You won't see it now, but the lights flicker on and off all the time, and I'm bleeding on my hands, on my knee, on my face, and it was so embarrassing. There was a girl walking her dog. There was an elderly couple. There was a couple cars driving by.
Anyone come over?
They've all seen me. No, well, I got up so quick because I was so embarrassed.
You did a John Toomey.
I did a John Toomey. I kept.
No, I'm fine.
We shouldn't have said that word. But I kept running, ran around the corner, and I'm like, and then the pain seeps in. You're like, fuck.
Yeah.
And I've gone home and I cleaned myself up, unfortunately. But
I've had falls like that, as probably not to that extent. I mean, always. Actually, I've had a couple of falls, maybe when I'm drunk. Yeah,
but there's one. We said a classic story.
I'll share
earlier.
two. I'll share two.
Okay.
Yeah, so I've never shared this one. This one's nowhere near as bad, not as embarrassing, but it's enough to introduce. It's enough to kind of get ready for the next story.
By the way, do you find falls funny?
Yes.
When you see somebody fall,
I hate it if someone finds my fall funny.
Of course,
yeah,
it's infuriating. But if you see somebody, I hate saying this, but if you see a toddler sprinting and trip and fall like that, where their head hits the ground,
maybe not the head hitting the ground.
Sorry.
A toddler knocking itself out. No, I don't find that funny.
Not the head hitting the ground, but when it falls, sorry, it's humorous.
If I saw someone falling, and maybe it's more. Like, if I saw a big, overweight person fall, I wouldn't find it funny because I'd be like, oh, that's...
Really? When you see videos on, old YouTube videos or Facebook videos of people falling over, I think that's some of the most humorous things.
Yeah, for sure.
Rob Richardson falling into the pool, for instance, earlier today was was comedy.
So one fall was... actually, I just thought of a third one.
Oh.
We're going back to when I was 3 years old, actually. Now, this one is a ripper because I'll be able to find the video footage.
Oh, great.
And it's on film. Don't know why, don't know how, but it was my birthday. I think it was my third or second birthday. Now, if everyone in Australia, every kid in Australia had this swing set. It was that green swing set, with the 4 legs, the 2 on each side, and you had a little seesaw thing on one. You had the handlebars that dangle, and then you had your generic swing.
Swing
king. And basically...
It's so true. Everyone had that.
My pop... So my dad's dad, my birthday, my second birthday, my pop is sitting me on the bit that has the handlebars. So he's sitting me up on the bit that so there's the little bar and you can maybe use it. No, he's sitting me with my legs dangled, right?
Come on, Pop.
So my dad's on the barbecue and my gran is videoing it. And Pop's holding me up. And all he had to do, and it's smiling, these swings and these swing sets are always so squeaky. So it's funny because you can hear the... And he takes his hand off for 1 second. And he's like, look, he's doing it all his own. And I'm smiling.
I think I've seen this.
And I just fall backwards. I just fell flat on my back and I get up. I was in total shock. I just brushed my hands together.
Oh, well done.
Yeah. And I think I was in shock. I was in shock. I was in total shock. And but we'll find that footage. But I'll go straight to the other couple of falls. So these are more the drunk falls.
Yeah.
One, this will be quick, this is... You don't want to hit your head when you're drunk.
No.
That's the worst.
Yeah, dangerous.
It's really dangerous. It can lead to some serious injuries or even death. But this one time, I remember I was at a party. It was Matt Schwieger, listener of the show, Schwieg. And he had a party and we were playing beer pong and for some reason, I ran out of my own drink. So what does Josh do when he runs out? He goes to the fridge and he finds what he can. Steals someone else's. So I found some white wine. Now... I wasn't a white wine drinker. No. Didn't know how I would respond to it.
Still not a white wine drinker.
No. So I filled the cups up with white wine, played beer pong. I lost. So I am gone.
Hammered.
So basically, Dad comes to pick me and someone else up. And basically, I'm sitting on the curb waiting for him. And then he pulls up and whoever I was with was like, your dad's here. And I get up and I stand up and I look at the car and then I do like these ones.
The wobbles.
And then I start
balancing.
And then I start running backwards, like to try and keep myself up.
Holy.
And then I'm going back.
Reverse to me.
To the point where my dad got out of the car running after me because I was about to fall. And I fell.
Into his arms.
No. I fell backwards into his arms. No, I fell backwards and I hit my head. And I was very lucky that nothing bad happened.
Serious.
But
the reverse Toomies, you got to worry about them.
You don't want any Toomies.
No
Toomies. No, you don't want any of those falls. But do you want the other story? Is that
of course I do.
Well, this one.
This is a classic.
I had a party, well known. Parents went home, invited the whole school. Basically, I got plastered before everyone got there. Silly mistake.
If you're a regular listener to the Dos and D show, you would have heard about this party. This is the infamous Dos parents away.
Big party.
Big party when he was 18.
It was the best. And basically, I got put to bed because I was passed out before everyone really arrived. I woke up a few hours later.
Before anyone arrived?
Well, no, there was people were there.
Yeah, but
when I woke up later, there were so many people there that I didn't know
were even invited.
It
got out of control.
Yeah. People were there that weren't invited.
Yeah.
And I started to walk downstairs, and I'm still obviously drunk. I'm in my underwear, nothing else but a pair of jocks. And then I walked down, and then I ended up like losing my balance, and I fell down like 5, maybe 6 or 7 stairs. I just fell down the stairs onto the bottom, onto the tiles, and like on my stomach and chest. So big thud. And then 2 girls.
You're lying on your stomach and chest?
Yeah, I'm lying on my stomach.
So face down?
Yeah, on the tiles, and I've just gone bang.
Yeah.
I'm lying there, and 2 girls, and I only found this out. I don't remember this. I just found this out from multiple people. There's 2 girls turned me over. One of them was, I'm pretty sure, a former guest of the show, and turned me over.
Name names.
Frankie Evans.
Yeah.
They turned me over to help me up, and they're like, "Oh my God, are you okay, mate?" And they turn me over, and I'm like, closed eyes. And I've just got a massive stalk on. Just
elaborate further. What's a stalk on?
I've got a boner.
You got a boner. Yeah.
I know.
You got an Aiden boner.
An Aiden boner. It's one of the most. When I got told that, I was so embarrassed. One of the most.
And quite a large one from all reports. Like it was. You pitch a 10 on that thing. It was one of those ones like you think about those. I think about those boxing things where you punch him and it's so stiff it just comes back.
Verdoing.
Yeah, Verdoing. It was a Verdoinger. So you had a Verdoinger, did you?
Yeah, I did.
Well, mate, that's at least they knew the size. At least there was nothing to worry about. Well, the stupid thing about my fall, I fell again when I fell the other day. I bandaged myself up and I fell down the stairs.
At home?
A day later, I fell down the stairs.
Yeah, there's something up with that. Maybe you need to change your shoes.
Yeah, it could be the thongs or it could be our paranormal friends.
Yeah, who knows? That feels good, doesn't it?
It does. I tell you what, it's been a lot of content this week.
I'm looking forward to a rest.
I'm looking forward to a rest. We're going to get in the spa.
Let's get in the spa.
Watch a bit of footy. Dunks.
Dunks is on tonight. I mean, this is a few weeks later. It's got no relevance to this episode whatsoever.
But we get to watch Dunks for the first time after interviewing him.
Yeah,
so that'll be a big moment.
Pointing
for
at the TV.
Going, I met him.
We met him. But if you haven't already, go straight to our YouTube channel, The Dos and D Show. Go and subscribe. Watch all this amazing, fun, great content, Dos vs. D. Where else?
TikTok, Dawson D, Instagram, Dawson D _ Facebook, Dawson D Show. That's flying.
But what we love is if you go and leave a review on the podcast platforms.
If basically wherever you find Dawson D or the Dawson D Show, make sure if there's a word that says subscribe or follow, click it.
Yeah.
No matter what platform, if it's follow. If it's subscribe. YouTube, if you're watching right now, please subscribe. If you listen to the podcast only on audio, check us out on YouTube. Even if you don't want to watch the podcast on YouTube, there is some great content. Yeah. Plenty from this trip here in Gold Coast, Queensland, New South Wales, wherever we are.
Plenty.
Make sure you do that. We're going to go off now because we have to do an ad read for our sponsors.
We actually do. So
we literally have to go, and we are absolutely fucking knackered. So.
But anything for the sponsors.
Sorry if we seem a bit tired or flat. We've done our best, but now we're going to go and make some money.
So, all the best.